Stay tuned, you're watching CTV News, made for students, by students.
Tonight on CTV, we talked to a student that was in Norway during the attacks and see how she responded to it.
Plus, we'll take a look at the construction of dormitories and how students are reacting to it.
All this and more, you're watching CTV.
You're watching CTV.
Welcome to CTV News, our first live show of the semester. I'm Dylan Thomas.
And I'm Kirsten Swanson. After last Saturday's Rams Point pool party that resulted in arrests and injuries, a Facebook invitation notified students that another party would be hosted at local apartment complex Rams Village. Earlier today, the Facebook invitation, which was posted by CSU students, was removed. Rams Village instructed the student organizers to remove the invitation or further ramifications would take place.
Almost everywhere you go around campus this year, there's some type of construction happening. The library, theater, and new engineering building are all under construction right now. However, the largest project of this year is the remodeling and addition of dormitories around campus. The construction on campus is almost impossible to avoid. Tuition dollars are flying towards structural improvements, especially towards the dorms. So far, Parmalee Hall has been hit the hardest.
I think they're real nice. I mean, I lived in Corbett last year, and the windows and the bricks are a lot nicer look than this green tile that they have out there now. It's kind of making everything look uniform with Parmalee, and everything's looking like Academic Village now.
Parmalee Hall is receiving a huge facelift as a new lobby, mailroom, and entire fourth floor have been added, not to mention a completely new landscape design on the outside.
The new dorms are very modernized, and I like the brick rather than the tile.
After the fourth floor is finished and the new elevators are installed at Parmalee, crews will move across campus to Braden Hall, where work should be done by May 16th, 2012. So how are some non-freshmen reacting to all these upgrades they paid for, but won't use?
It's kind of bad, but I mean, every year people pay the tuition. Every year they're doing something different to the dorms. I mean, last year we got new carpet and like new lobby, so it's just every year there's something new, so you can't complain about what's happening now.
Freshmen still occupy halls under construction like Corbett and Parmalee. However, many students in the Parmalee Hall will have to relocate after first semester to the other side of the building in order for the new fourth floor to be completed.
For those of you who missed it over the summer, a local pizza shop was torn down to make way for new housing. CTV reporter Wayne Stafford has the story.
It's true, CSU's neighborhood pizza shop is gone.
Hey guys, Wayne Stafford here, and I'm standing outside what used to be Woody's Woodfire Tavern, a local pizza shop just north of Laurel. And as you can see, they're just finishing tearing it down.
Woody's Tavern was owned by the group 518 West Laurel Partnership for the past 40 years. When the original owners wanted to retire, the property was bought by Catamount Properties. In its place, a new housing project will be constructed geared toward accommodating CSU students.
The new project is what we call multifamily. It's 3 stories in height. It'll have 52 units. It'll have just a little over 100 bedrooms. It is designed to provide some parking, but not parking for every unit. There'll be 48 parking spaces. Because it's so close to campus, a lot of parking isn't needed for that particular location.
The intentions of this apartment complex are to meet sustainable housing standards, which is also a concern for CSU staff members as well.
We house about, 6,000 students on campus, and as you can see from the construction going on over there by Corbett Hall and things like that, we do, I think, a really good job of making that really affordable and really high quality. We're also understanding that 6,000 students live on campus, a lot more live right around campus, and our goal is to make sure that we work with the city and the community so that we can have as much affordable, accessible, high-quality housing as possible.
Although this was a great push for student housing, some still remember the good times they had at Woody's.
The housing project has recently begun and will be completed by the end of June next year.
Now some news making headlines around the world. In China, another 19 miners were rescued from a flooded mine early this morning. Rescuers are still searching for the 3 other miners. 45 workers were inside the mine when the coal mine flooded a week ago after miners accidentally drilled into a neighboring mine that was already flooded. Muammar Gaddafi's wife and 3 adult children fled Libya Monday to neighboring country Algeria. But Gaddafi's whereabouts are still unknown, and he remains at large. If he remains in the country, rebels worry that more violence may occur. The Obama administration said there was no indication that he had left the country. Rebels are demanding that Algeria return Gaddafi's wife and children for trial, which is now raising tensions between the countries.
When disaster strikes, it can be a scary situation for all. But imagine being thousands of miles away from home. I spoke with one young woman who experienced just that. ESU student Danielle Taylor had one amazing summer.
I went abroad to Norway to study in summer school for 6 weeks.
What she didn't expect was to be caught in the middle of a crisis abroad.
On July 22nd, there were attacks. They were coming from a man of Norwegian descent. It started about 3:30 p.m. on a Friday afternoon. There was a car bomb that went off outside of a government building in downtown Oslo.
After hearing about what happened, Taylor immediately sprung into action.
I went straight online, checking out the news and making sure that my parents and my family back home knew I was okay.
Although the attacks didn't happen on American soil, Taylor still felt a connection to the people of Norway.
Well, I mean, I did feel that I wasn't entirely part of it, but at the same time, I did feel like I was very much part of what was going on. I participated in all the events that were going on, such as the Rose March, which happened the Monday after, and I went and lit my candle at the church for the victims.
The attacks haven't scared Taylor away from seeing the world.
If anything, it made me want to go more to experience like different cultures, because part of the reason for this attack, or the logic behind it, I guess, was that it was a multicultural issue.
And the advice she has for nervous travelers?
Do it. You'll enjoy it. It's really fun. I was personally glad that I had a good support base, like in country as well as at home. So when the tragedy struck, I had support all around me. That was important to me.
Taylor is currently looking into a French-based study abroad program and will continue to explore new cultures as an international studies major here at CSU. Well, Dylan, while we're looking nice and toasty here in Fort Collins, those on the East Coast aren't as lucky.
We were able to talk to a student over on the East Coast about his experience with the storms.
Plus, movie reviewer Jeff Colbank is in the studio to give us a look at a new movie that could send chills up your spine. So don't go anywhere.
And you look heavier. I know, it's the best. It adds about 10-15 pounds on me.
C'est pas un prénom, mais deux, qu'il va falloir trouver.
Wow! Is that your time machine? Yeah.
When I was 7 years old, I had a dog that was playing with grasshoppers that were jumping around that had been sprayed with an organophosphate.
Commander Daniels, where's your wingman, son?
Dead, sir.
You know how this looks?
I did not violate the rule of engagement. Check my logs.
The only known symptoms of this horrible disease is spontaneously bursting into song, and for some, breaking into dance in the final hours of their life.
update. Tuesday's weather was another hot one with mostly sunny skies and highs reaching 90 degrees. Temperatures cooled off with a nightly low of 57 degrees. And the rest of this week looks hot with a possible cool down towards the end of this week. Let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. Wednesday will be mostly sunny with a high of 93 degrees. Thursday will also be mostly sunny with a high near 90. And this weekend we can expect a little cooling down with highs ranging in the low to mid 80s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And throughout the bad news coming from the East Coast, there is good news. The forecast is expecting a few dry days, so cleanup can begin. However, flooding is still an issue in New England, New York, and New Jersey. Flash flood watches and warnings are still in effect for some areas. We'll go back to the news with some more information regarding Hurricane Irene.
Many states on the East Coast are suffering from Hurricane Irene. At least 38 people died as a result of the storm. About 2/3 of the 9.4 million households that didn't have power are now fixed. The rest is being planned to be fixed later next week.
In Rhode Island, nearly half of the state was out of power. We contacted someone who lives in Rhode Island who recently moved into a college dorm to see how he dealt with the power outage and the aftermath of the hurricane. CTV was able to sit down with Chris Vitale via Skype to talk about Hurricane Irene. Vitale is a student at Roger Williams University in Rhode Island. He told CTV that the experience was handled very well by school administration. They were held in their dorm rooms from Saturday until Sunday, and the power wasn't restored until Tuesday morning around 10.
We went outside, we walked around, we kind of went to the southern part of the campus that was closer to the water, and a lot of trees did come down. I know there's a picture of me and a couple of my roommates, and they're standing next to one of the trees that's actually knocked down, and the entire thing's just completely ripped out of the from its roots. Everyone was pretty much taken care of. Like I said, everybody stayed inside. They had us, we were kept updated. All the, the best safety precautions were used, and they made sure through radio that if some place was, not safe, that they warned students to avoid that area of campus.
Roger Williams University is planning to begin school in this coming week.
While the threat of Hurricane Irene weakens, Tropical Storm Katia continues to strengthen in the Atlantic Ocean. The storm is expected to grow into a Category 3 hurricane by Sunday, and by the look of its movement, it will be near the northeast Puerto Rico area.
It's almost September, movie fans, which means we are about to see the movie theaters fill with films about slayers, slashers, and sorority girls as we lead up to Halloween. Now, today's film review is the movie kicking off that horror bandwagon, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Returned to the genre may be disappointed with his newest film that he wrote and produced himself. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, a remake of the 1977 made-for-TV horror film of the same name, features subpar acting and more holes in the plot than a chunk of Swiss cheese. The film revolves around your basic elements of any horror movie: a creepy old house, a creepy young girl, and one element that isn't featured much: demons who feast on children's teeth. That's right, teeth.
I don't like it here.
Sally, what do you think? We worked really hard to get it ready.
Now, Guy Pearce, who you may recognize from Memento, is daddy of the creepy little girl that I mentioned earlier. Now, Pearce is usually prone to being emotionless in his roles, and this film is no different. In several scenes, I can't tell if he's happy his house is haunted, or if he just really has to use the bathroom. And Katie Holmes, who you may recognize as, well, Tom Cruise's wife, actually pulls through as a believable character. I mean, I haven't seen her in anything since, well, Batman Begins, and she was so bad in that movie that they replaced her with Maggie Gyllenhaal in the sequel. But overall, this horror film just lacked the scares and bumps in the night that I was so desperately hoping for, given that Del Toro's name was so closely attached to it. I'm going to have to give Don't Be Afraid of the Dark a 2 out of 5. Now, fans, don't give up on horror movies just yet. There is still time for redemption of the genre before we hit Halloween. Now, next week, I will be reviewing the sci-fi horror film Apollo 18.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff.
Sure thing.
All right, well, we'll be back with Kayla Ertl for your Tuesday Sports Update.
Stay tuned.
Hey guys, look at this. Whoa! Is that your time machine?
No, Levi, don't! The door's still open!
Today is my day.
Ram football's here, and CSU has a special ticket offer that reserves your seat for 3 of the best home games of the year. It's the Mountain West plan, and it includes San Diego State, in-state rival Air Force, and the eagerly anticipated game versus national power Boise State. Get a sideline ticket to all 3 of these exciting games for only $90. That's a $25 savings from the single game price. Order your Mountain West plan for the low price of $90. Call 1-800-491-RAMS or visit csurams.com.
Welcome back, CTVers. I'm Kayla Ertl with your Tuesday Sports Update. The CSU men's basketball team has had an eventful summer, to say the least. Not only did Coach Tim Miles sign a contract extension that will keep him around through the 2016 season, he also added Ron Coleman to his coaching staff last Thursday, which looks to be a good fit already.
Ron Coleman is a guy I hired to be an assistant coach, and Ron has been associated with one of the top high school programs in Whitney Young High School as the associate head coach there. He's been a highly successful state champion head coach in his own right. And he's also been the director of the Mac Irvin Fire, which is one of the more powerful AAU programs in the whole country.
Along with this huge addition to the staff, the 2011-2012 men's basketball schedule was released last Thursday. And it's safe to say, Coach has gotten us some great matchups to look forward to.
I really love our schedule. Our home schedule is outstanding. Montana's at home, who's one of the favorites in the Big Sky. Southern Miss, in a rematch of the Cancun Governor's Cup championship game from last season, is coming here. We've got CU here. We've got DU coming into town. We've got really, I think, an attractive home schedule. And then you look at our road schedule, and we're in the preseason NIT. That's a very good event. We are going to Northern Iowa as part of the Mountain West Missouri Valley Challenge. And, of course, we're at Duke. And that's not to be dismissed. That's going to be a great event for us, and I think a really neat time for our guys to go out and compete with the elite in the country.
Obviously, the game that stands out the most next season is when CSU travels to Cameron Indoor Arena December 7th to face the Duke Blue Devils. That game will be televised on ESPN. The regular season will tip off November 11th against Montana at Moby Arena. Switching gears now over to the Diamond, the CSU softball team is everything but a swing and a miss this season. Adding a total of 10 new players to the roster, these Rammies are ready to hit the field.
So Chelsea Biglow had a great year last year as a freshman third baseman. You know, she's a great leader, great person to have around. Emily, obviously, real solid catcher, good offensive player, good threat. So we're looking for those two to kind of lead us, not only on defense, but on the offense as well.
Sophomore Emily Pohl has been a catcher since the age of 7 years old, and she has always loved the position because she controls the field. But most of all, she said it never gets old messing with those batters.
For me, I just want to do everything I can to help the team, try to keep them positive, and no matter what happens, just go to win. Really just keeping the pitchers positive and really trying to get them to pitch strikes and get ahead with batters and doing everything they can to make our team successful.
Well, I think, you know, our biggest goal right now is to really get our pitching staff where it needs to be. Unfortunately, we had a couple of major injuries and last year on our pitching staff. So just getting to that level where we can compete. We obviously want to bring down the ERA, bring down the walks, and just up our kids' opportunity to.
Thanks a lot, Kayla, for your sports update today. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you today.
We'll see you all next week.